I think there's also a misnomer in the mind of Christians when it comes to darkness in storytelling. And that misnomer is that they tend to think darkness equals. I was recently challenged by a friend of mine about why I include dark elements in my storytelling. And part of the challenge was, are you doing it just to be provocative? Is there some sense that you want to distance yourself from all the other storytellers that don't utilize darker elements? And his questions kind of knocked me back on my heels, made me have to think a little bit about why do I include darker elements? I have to say, I don't intentionally do it, but when I start to write, it does come out pretty naturally for me. The first argument I have for including darker elements is that reality is dark. There's so much evil in the world, and I realize as a Westerner living in America who has a video camera and the ability to edit videos on his computer and upload them to the internet and lives in the comfort of an air-conditioned home, that darkness at times can seem pretty distant. It can seem pretty removed from our everyday reality. But it is a part of reality. My second argument for including it is that Scripture itself is riddled with darkness. And although a lot of that darkness is due to sin, is due to people doing evil, some of it is actually because of God Himself. When I think of the people of Israel going into the Promised Land, they brought great terror on those people, and they killed men, women, children, livestock, everything, all at the demand of God. So darkness can be due to sin, but it can also just be righteous judgment. I think there's also a misnomer in the mind of Christians when it comes to darkness in storytelling. And that misnomer is that they tend to think darkness equals nihilism. And it doesn't. You can actually have very happy, lighthearted, comedic fare be nihilistic. Darkness can really create a contrast when it comes to stories that have hope and redemption. Imagine a story about a child stealing a cookie. The redemption that is needed in that story is pretty small and minimal. But if the story is about a man who murders his neighbor and he has to reconcile with the son of his neighbor 10 years later, that's a story that needs a massive amount of redemption. And the darkest story ever told is the story of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And yet that's the story on which hinges our very salvation. So to avoid dark stories or dark subject matters can often be a way that we avoid the reality of what life is and the reality of what redemption is.